Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the Stardust Show, powered by Radio.W.O.R.K.S World. I have the privilege of introducing tonight somebody that is going to impact the way you look at things, the way you look at yourself. My special guest tonight is Prince Eze Ihenako, and amongst other things, he is an author. And above everything, he is an advocate for humanity. Prince Eze Ihenako, please tell us what made you write um, the book about metaphors.
Thank you very much, Dr. Malina. Thank you for this opportunity given to me to talk on your radio works. I'm, and I don't know how to begin, but I can assure you that it is what drove this particular book called Our World in Metaphors is because I looked at this word and looked at the various concepts, ideologies, and theories that informed the foundation upon which human beings conduct the activities of this life. And I found that a lot of them, and then I began to understand why the actual building on top of this foundation continues to malfunction and crack all the time. And we are having to spend time plastering and peppering over the cracks. And each time we carry on plastering and peppering over, the building continues to crack. Then I found that it's all to do with the various concepts, various ideologies and theories that informed the foundations upon which we conducted things. And then I began to look at the leadership of this world. I began to identify also that they are propelling a very dangerous ideas about this life because I don't think they've understood what humanity is all about. Now, from that concept, from that thinking, I just found that I can actually present this world from different metaphoric angles so as to enhance our understanding of what this is all about. Because I believe that from that, we can lay better foundation, better concepts, better ideologies and theories that are for humanity, not actually for the wild. Because a lot of what informs what we are doing are activities that are suitable for the wild, where you have animals who naturally, some of them are naturally made to kill one another in order to survive. But we are not that type of animal. We are human beings that are full of creativity, full of invention, full of, we don't actually need to kill and eat ourselves for our survival. So I think we have been totally misguided, and that's why we are malfunctioning. Hence, I wrote this book called Our World in Metaphors, just so that I can show the world, that can show, especially the leadership of this world, what humanity is actually all about. Because humanity is a powerful vehicle, an awesome vehicle that is supposed to be self sufficient and also rewarding to every tenant that rents this world. Remember, in this world, we are all tenants, in spite of all how many houses you have, we remain tenants and we are all visitors that must depart when the time is right. But we need to make sure that our existence here is appropriate and according and also is valuable to one another so that we're not here to be killing ourselves and destroying ourselves. So I needed to present and show more light in terms of what humanity is all about. Hence, I wrote this book called Our World in Metaphors.
Wow, in my own experience, metaphors are more powerful than facts simply
Yes,
because there is an inner power in every single word you are using, and
that's
that word could go a very long way into your emotional field, into your vibrational field. What is your experience about metaphors? Do you think leaders are able to help others using metaphors to reach out to the people who elected them, to reach out to their community, to bring the message of love and humility into other people's lives.
Absolutely. You see, metaphors, like you rightly said, are quite more powerful than ordinary words, because the ordinary words can be deemed as personal, okay, and people resent anything that comes personal. But when you put things in metaphors, okay, it is more friendly for people to look at, okay. And then what it does, it talks to you. It talks to you without being too aggressive or too personal to you. It makes you realize. I don't know. I don't know whether are you a Bible student? Are you a? I don't mind whatever anybody is, but there is a story about. I don't know if you heard the story about David when he took another person's wife, in spite of the number of wives he had. I don't know if you know about it. Do you know about that? Are you a Christian?
Yes, yes, I am. Yes,
Okay, yes. David actually took Uriah's wife and sent Uriah to die in the. I don't know if you've heard about Bathsheba.
yes,
Okay. Now, what then happened was that God sent a messenger to David. The messenger went there and used metaphor. Okay, he used metaphor, and then David suddenly realized, without knowing that it was him, because when the messenger went and said that there was a man who had everything, but he went and took the only thing another man had and sent that man out to die. But David didn't know it was him. And then David was very angry about that man that had everything. And then when he was told that it was him, then it shocked him. Okay, so that's the power of metaphors, because what it does is that it presents the facts to you, okay, in a different way that you weren't anticipating it, and that you
so
wouldn't
so it is
deem.
applying to your emotional intelligence.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, and exactly the word you use there, what is lacking in this world is emotional intelligence. In fact, when you understand how bad this is lacking, then you will find that no, I've examined all the nations of this world and none is civilized, because each of the nation I look at lacks emotional intelligence. Because civilization is not about the duration of light area or how many aircrafts that flies over your head. That's not civilization. Civilization is actually about your interaction, your interpersonal interaction with other human beings, your emotional intelligence. And then what I find is that no nation on this planet is civilized. Okay. And I think it is born out of poor leadership, because we haven't really understood the real constructs of humanity. So, and I believe that with metaphors, we will understand it better, because in this book, you will see our world as even football. You will see our world as an aircraft. You will see our world as a journey on a motorway or freeway, whatever you call it. You will see our world as a tree. You will see our world as a motor vehicle. These are real, and it will give you a better meaning of what humanity is all about. Now, if I were to give you an example, looking at, I hope you don't mind, if I were to give you an example, and can I go on and give you that example, Marina?
Of course, of course.
Good. Looking at our world as a car engine, a car engine. Now, what you'll find is that with a car engine, there are different parts to make up that engine. And there is no way that engine will deliver optimum performance without every part of that engine being at its best. Okay, now within this engine, all the parts are useful, but they are all useless on their own, because if you take them out on their own, they will become useless. Okay? Now, within that also, you find that these parts of the engine, any of them can malfunction. any of them. And as a mechanic or as an automobile engineer, you have got to deal with any part that malfunctions and make sure it is repaired or replaced so that you will have the optimum performance. Now, this is exactly what you find in humanity. Humanity is actually one singular entity with different individuals, different communities, different nations, different continents. And each of these has each unique qualities to bring to the equation. And for our world to be strong, each individual, each community, each country, each continent has got to perform at its optimum level. And the reality is, no matter how they all perform at their optimum levels, there will always be time when malfunction will come in. It's part of being human. It's part of being one entity with different parts. Now, the problem we are having in the world is that the way we have constructed the world, human beings made the mistake of, and that is part of those concepts I'm talking about, that within humanity, there are people who are made to be perfect and those that are supposed to be non-perfect. There are people who, for example, if people assume that because I am an archbishop, because of the robe I wear, I become a saint. I can't do no wrong. That means nobody can tell the archbishop you've done it wrong here. Remember, we are like parts of engine. Each of us, any part of engine can malfunction. Okay? And can be repaired. It's just that when we now look at humanity, we disorganized it by constructing it wrongly. We are all supposed to be, honestly speaking, people haven't understood this, but it is true that if we can give every child and try and help them to, because each person is unique. This is one thing we haven't understood. And each person is carrying something in them, not only for their own use, but for everybody's use. People haven't seen beyond this. I haven't seen up to this point, I'm telling you. And I'm quite sure a lot of people have. But the thing is, how many of us are pulling it together? Because when we maximize each child's potential, maximize each community's potential, maximize each country's potential, maximize each continent's potential, you will see the beauty of this world. You will see the beauty of humanity. We're not here, and now, honestly speaking, we're not here to share everything equally because no two persons are equal. I also don't believe in equality because equal. I can assure you that. But the fact that we are not equal does not mean that we are not equally human beings. It's like you and I. I may be taller than you. That means I will perhaps need more clothes to sew in order to fit me. But that doesn't mean that because you have less clothes to sew to fit you, that doesn't make me more or less important than you, or make you more or less important than me, because we each are carrying, each of us is carrying unique attributes. In fact, I had to also bring this metaphoric perspective into the five fingers, because when you look at our five fingers, it illustrates the same point, because they are not equal, but they are all equally fingers, irrespective of their various sizes. None each is more or less important than the other. And when you look at them, you find that they are sharing one common base, just like each of us in this world, we are sharing this world. We are all sharing and renting this world. Now, nobody chose their location. That is why you never knew the womb that was going to bore you, or the nation that you will
Mhm.
emerge from. But it was just whatever nature has for you, that you came from where you came from. The same thing with these five fingers. They never chose their location, okay? But they are well seated in their areas, okay? They can mix, but they can never swap places, okay? And for the hand to function at its best, each of the fingers must be strong, must be independent, must also be healthy. Now, it is when they each bring their unique qualities and bring them all together, in one accord, that you have a strong fist, a strong hand. That is our word in a nutshell. That we are human beings created with different talents. Each of us, that is why each person's DNA is different from the other. If only we knew what we are losing when we kill and destroy ourselves. If only we knew, because you see, the world is more than big enough to take all of us. People need to understand this and forget about all the lies they have been sold. Our world currently, the population is still under 8 billion. Okay, we're still 7 point something billion. But this world can comfortably take 24 billion people. And our world is well resourced, and we don't actually need to share the resources equally for people to be contented. Okay? The thing is, we really need to understand humanity better so that we can organize it better. And that's the whole essence of writing this book.
So tell me, when you wrote this book, what you had in mind, what you think, what you wanted the impact to be, who do you want to read this book?
Like the main emphasis on writing this book is on leadership. So I really would love the leadership of this world. And I'm not just talking about political leadership. I am talking about religious leadership because they are malfunctioning big time. In fact, I see religious leaders as honestly malfunctioning even more than political leaders. Okay, because I don't think they are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. That is my view. So I primarily want this book is going to be launched on the 13th of August August this year. And I am looking to invite as many people that are in leadership as possible. Whether they will attend or not, that will be their own issues to. But I want to see this book on the desk of leaders because I believe that everything is driven by mindset, and we're looking to impact on mindset because they have sold humanity very short indeed. They have sold humanity down the river. They are the primary cause why our world is, as far as I'm concerned, totally empty. Yet we are all feeling congested. Okay, we are talking about a world where children are now comfortable in putting knives into fellow children. Now something has gone terribly wrong because it never used to be the case. Yes, we can talk about so many other things that happened in the past, but it never used to be the case that children can take knives and put into other children. It tells you that something has gone terribly wrong. So we really need to begin to wrestle down humanity and bring humanity to the right place it should be. Like I said, it's malfunctioning because the foundation upon which we build this life, okay, what I call the the evil blueprint, because there is a blueprint in existence that we need to understand and we need to, rip to shreds and replace with adequate, humane, and humanly organized systems that can bring about the beauty of humanity.
Wow, I um I can't help it but to bring my own thoughts into what you just shared with us, and I think when you think leadership, the
Yes.
first word that comes to mind is integrity. Doesn't matter is a leader of a country, of a small community,
Yes.
or just a company, or your own life for that
Any
matters.
leader, that's
But
right.
unless you believe in integrity, you believe in the integrity of who you are as a person, as an entity, as a leader, as a community, it's very hard to focus on what matters the most. And what
Absolutely.
really matters the most, it is how each individual feels. And I
Yes.
think this is what we left outside this equation called life. We
Yes.
go along, we don't have or we don't show much respect for other people's feelings because we are trained not to show respect for our own feelings. And with this said, I just wonder, what is your key message if you are now to be heard by um, one of the greatest leaders we have at present? What would be your message to them?
Well, my message will be quite simple because, as far as I know, leadership, and that's part of the reason why I don't want to actually go into leadership, because it's a huge sacrifice. If you don't have the spirit of sacrifice, you cannot be a leader. Leadership is actually about thinking about that child. Just one look at the child. Look at the child. Your job as a leader is to first of all appreciate that locked in that child is creativity. Locked in that child is a talent that needs to be harnessed. Now, the job of a leader is to create an enabling environment that will ensure and that will do whatever it takes to unlock, unleash, and harness that child's potentials. And it's not just to harness it, but to maximize it. Because until leadership understands that it owes it to its people, to the citizens of this world, that the citizens of this world are actually our greatest asset, because that is what makes life tick. If you want a good institution, you've got to make the quality individuals that will make it happen. You need a good road, you've got to have the quality individuals to build that good road. You want good hospitals, it's going to be based on the quality of the individual. Now, when leadership understands that the key principle is to equip each individual to actually harness the unique potential and also maximize it, we can forget it until we realize that that is what it's all about. Then we can forget it. Okay, and when a leader is in that mode, any leader that is in this mode, honestly speaking, will not be rushing and killing or doing whatever for leadership, because it's hard work. It's hard work. And when you are leading human beings, you are actually offering service to God, your creator. And if you mislead them, then you are in trouble. You are just in trouble, because humanity is God. People need to understand this. And that's why I keep saying to people, human beings must desist from this thought of dominance and conquering. We are not here to conquer ourselves. The thought of conquering another nation, conquering or this and that, you can't conquer humanity. And remember, this has been a stupid quest of humanity since time immemorial, and they've never succeeded, because you can't conquer God. Conquering humanity is conquering God. People need to understand that we are carrying the breath of God, and that's why we can send aircraft in the air, and we can bring other animals that are more powerful than us, bring them close into examination and study them, and even make them do things they can't do naturally. We are the only creatures given such powers. Even angels don't have it. We need to understand who we are. We are actually carrying the breath of God, and we're carrying the will to make things happen. We are creativity. People need to understand this.
Wow. I'm so grateful, Prince Eze Ihenaho, for your contributions. And I know you wrote more than one book. And I just wonder if you have the book handy and you could read a paragraph from your favorite paragraph from the book.
All right, yes, I do have a world in metaphors right in front of me, and you can find that the subtitle is "Driven by the Truth," because I know that the only thing that will save this foundation, the only thing that can save humanity, is the truth. Now, if you need me to read something, then I'm going to read to you. Let me just go to. I'm going to read to you the one that tells you that, let me just, I think it's part of my, where I say I am an automobile engineer. Um, I need to read that to you. So at least that will bring a bit of message to the audience. Um, let me hope I can Wish I had known that you wanted me to read something. I would have prepared it all ready for you, but don't worry, I'm going to find the one I want to read to you.
The whole
It's not
idea behind our shows is that we don't prep, we just open our hearts and we share with
really.
others, total
That's,
strangers, including ourselves, what we hold
mhm.
in the truth we embrace.
That's
So
wonderful.
just pick any paragraph that you think is relevant for our audience tonight.
Okay. Let me read this to you. And remember, everything is written, majority of the things in this book is written in metaphors. I am an automobile engineer, and in all my life, I have not seen such a beautiful designed and awesomely made vehicle brought into my garage for repairs recently. Having not seen such a car before, I checked and found that ascribed on the front grille is, quote, humanity. This is what is written on this vehicle. It's written humanity. The owner of this vehicle told me that since it was purchased many, many years ago, it had always had, quote, restricted performance, unquote, warning sign on the dashboard. And the original manufacturers or makers of this vehicle all died in an air crash before they were able to look at the fault. The owner also told me that the vehicle had been taken to many garages, but none so far have been able to diagnose the problem. In addition, and most importantly, he said, and I quote, I met someone who recommended you, and I had no doubt that you can help to locate what the problem is. I enjoy this vehicle a lot, but sometimes I feel it would explode on me. I also wonder how wonderful it would be if the fault can be located and repaired. I would like to live and see this awesomely made vehicle perform at its best. Unquote. Having listened attentively to all that the owner said, I agreed to investigate the vehicle. And then I put the vehicle in my specially made diagnostic equipment. I told the owner to come back the following day. Now, having put this in the diagnostic equipment, it began to reveal that the makers of the vehicle made a wrong choice by putting inappropriate C's. Instead of putting the C's that represent complement, collaboration, and cohesion, they installed competition, challenge, and contests, therefore making the different parts of the vehicle that ought to work together for the benefit of all work against themselves by wrongly thinking they are there to compete, contest, and challenge one another and each other. This, I believe, is the problem with humanity, the vehicle. I cannot wait to break the news to the owner because problem identified is problem solved. If the owner is happy and can understand, we can then go through the process of having the inappropriate Cs removed and then install the appropriate Cs. Can I stop here?
Yes. Thank you so much. I'm having a lot of questions from our listeners, but perhaps we will discuss next time. And
Sorry.
if there is a key message you want to share with the younger generation, with the children out there who are our hope
Our future.
for a better life, what would you tell them?
What I will say to every young person out there is please, please, please don't judge the world based on what your eyes can see because the eyes represent the physical and the physical is quite limited. Change your mindset because I get involved in a lot in these violent gun crime and knife crime, and all what I always say to every child is please, please, please ask your parents particularly your mother that carried you 9 months in the womb. Ask your mother two questions, especially if you intend to carry a weapon on the street. Just ask your mother these two questions because she carried you in the womb. She knows what she's been through bringing you up to where you are. Ask your mother these two questions. Mom, how would you feel if somebody killed me and stabbed me to death? How would you feel? Then ask her, Mom, how would you feel if you end up burying me? Now, with whatever answer your mother gives you, remember, it is the same feeling that another mother would have for their own children whom you are intending to hurt by carrying that weapon. So I want people to begin to get in touch with their spiritual realm, with their with their mindset, because people need to understand that the mind is more powerful than the eyes. The mind goes deeper. The eyes can only go so far. And for everybody's information, I think people need to begin to understand that the human eyesight is very limited indeed. Our hearing is also very limited. If we want to test this out, we can look at having a dog beside us. The dog will start barking because they have heard something before us and they have seen something before us before we start inquiring. That tells you how limited our eyesight is. And I'm asking that humanity must stop judging this world just based on what they can see. They must develop their inner minds and develop their thinking ability because everything must be driven from our thought process. And let that thought process be sound because when it is sound, our actions will be sound too. So that's my message that we develop our minds a lot more so that we can do better. It's all to do with mindset.
Beautiful, beautifully said, and very powerful message. I
Thank
believe
you.
that you'll be back, and perhaps our
Thank you.
listeners will be very pleased to have answers to their questions. I would like to end with a quote by Margaret Fuller, who said that today a reader, tomorrow a leader. Um, Please go to Amazon and
I'm
find
sorry, somebody was interrupting by calling me. Sorry. Go on.
Prince Eze Iheanacho's book, and come back with the questions you want to be answered. And best questions will be answered live. From both of us, until next time, share your stardust. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.